Overthinking is an illusion, and what we've been calling overthinking isn't thinking at all. It's unconscious fear loops, and that distinction changes everything. Hi, so it's been so long since I've actually done a video for my channel, so I'm so glad to be back and starting to make videos again, and sharing my message with people. And I wanted to talk today about overthinking, about the concept of overthinking, because we hear this a lot in our society. You know, you're just overthinking it. He's an overthinker, she's an overthinker. But truly, when we start to really think about where we are attaching the label of overthinking, often we'll find it's not thinking at all, it's the actual opposite of thinking. Often what we're finding when people are labeling situations as being, I'm just overthinking it, is actually they're actually looping thoughts, intrusive thoughts, negatively seeded programs from the inverted matrix that we've all been a part of. So it's not a criticism, isn't this? You know, we've all been a part of the false matrix, inverted matrix, you know, ever since we took our first breath. In fact, before that, really, because it's ever since we came in as a soul in the womb, we were already experiencing through our mother those frequencies and vibrations of the false inverted matrix. So we've been caught in those looping negative thoughts, and that's been branded as being overthinking. And really, when we think about thinking, so it's been kind of attached to this negative energy, right, where we say, oh, you're overthinking, like that's negative, to think. It creates that negative association with thinking, and really we don't have an epidemic of overthinking. It's the opposite. It's underthinking, right? Because really, when we truly, in the true light of day, examine what we call overthinking, in many of the cases that's being used for people that are going into those looping thoughts and becoming anxious about things, really getting caught in the fears. So really, what is thinking? So, I mean, I've been thinking about this for a while, because this has been kind of coming into my field for a little bit of time, and I've been thinking about how I bring this message forward. And today, when I was thinking again, like, okay, I want to bring this message forward, I was thinking, well, why is it taking me so long to bring this message forward? Now, I have been in a period of really focused on a lot of personal stuff, really, in terms of developing, in terms of my business, etc. And I realized that I was really just getting stuck in a loop of wanting to bring this video forward in this perfect form, and that's not normally me. And I'm like, normally I just bring it forward and you can connect into the message of it. So I just thought it was quite funny when I was thinking about bringing forward this message, how I was demonstrating to myself the opposite of overthinking. That the truth was, I wasn't overthinking it, because overthinking, in my eyes, doesn't really exist. It's actually when we get caught, it's the opposite of thinking, when we get stuck in those loops. So when I think about thinking, for me, when we are thinking, we are focusing our attention, our energy up on something, and we are observing it. We are in contemplation about it. We are going into our full mind body. So we're not just in the brain, we're actually in the intelligence of our whole system. So we are not just focusing our energy directly at it, we are going right into the core of it, and we are going around it, above it and below it. We are observing all the way around whatever we are contemplating, and we are also connecting to it through not just our physical senses, but through our higher sensory perceptions as well. So through the intelligence of the mind, through the intelligence of the cosmic mind, we're really plugging in, and we're in deep thought about a concept or about something. And through that observation, what we're doing is we're shining our light upon it. It's like we're putting a spotlight on it in all directions. And we're not doing it from a place of judgment. We're doing it from a place of curiosity, from a place of, curiosity. We're curious about something, and eventually, as we go into that deep thinking, that's when we start to have those aha moments, because our light, our creativity is shined upon it, and through that deep thinking, through thinking, that's when we start to create a lot of magic within our own reality and within the world. So why did I want to bring this video forward? It was because, it might seem a bit like, well, it's potato. Some people might call it overthinking. So what if it's, what if that's not actually what it is? Well, why I wanted to bring it forward, because it is important, because when we take a concept like thinking, when we are thinking, we are in a creator mode, like we are connected to source. We are going into our inner world, and we are activating, and we are observing, that inner world and the reflection of it on the outer world. So we are activating, discovering things. We are opening up our light. So when we are thinking, it brings in a lot of amazing things for our life and for the creation as a whole. But if we start to perceive thinking as negative by attaching overthinking to it, and seeing overthinking and attaching that to actually not thinking at all, so we could almost see, so it's not thinking, we're not overthinking about something, we're not thinking at all when we're stuck in those fear loops. That is not thinking. That is an inorganic program of fear that's been seeded within us in some way, that is just looping around, and you're on a hell wheel to nowhere when you're stuck in those loops. Now, this isn't a criticism, but it's for us to understand that if we label that as overthinking, then we're creating a negative association with what true thinking actually is. So it's not overthinking when we're stuck in those loops. And everyone that's been born into this false matrix, inverted matrix, all of us have been born into this, and we've all been subject to this psychological warfare, mental mind control. Now, we did choose to be here, so I'm not saying that from a victim perspective, but we've all been subject to that from the moment you came into your mother's womb. You were subject to that because you were connecting to your mum and to the external environment through your mum's inner vibration and frequency. So whilst you couldn't speak the English language, you could feel the energy of what was happening around you when you came in. So we've all been subject to this from birth. So it's understandable that we've associated those thoughts that go around the mind as being thinking, and it's not thinking, it's the opposite of thinking. So it's good for us to shine a light on this and have it in our awareness, because if we have it in our awareness, then we can, rather than when we go into those loops about something, rather than saying, oh, I'm just overthinking, we can realize I'm not thinking. So what if, instead of continuing to allow myself to be pulled into those automatic subconscious loops, actually we become aware of them and we see them, and we're like, oh, okay, there's some fear going around here. I'm stuck in this what if. So perhaps there's something that you've been, you felt, oh, I feel a pull to do this in my life. Okay, you feel this pull, you've been observing something, you've been feeling something, and then your mind starts to go into overdrive. Well, what if this happens? What if that happens? And you start thinking to yourself, I'm overthinking. Well, you're not thinking, so you can shine a light and be like, okay, I'm not thinking here. I'm actually stuck in this fear loop. So then you can start to become curious about it. So as soon as you start to become curious about it, you're already disrupting that thought loop. You're already starting to dismantle that thought loop by becoming aware of it and realizing it's a thought loop, a negative, intrusive thought. And by becoming curious about it, you're starting to engage thinking. You're starting to create an opening to detach from that energy rather than just being in the stream of it and just being caught up in it. And then by saying by labeling it as overthinking, you don't address it. You just allow it to continue because you've just written it off as overthinking when it's not thinking at all. So you've already started to bring in light to that energy that's been just running riot around your energy system. So you're already creating, like I say, that it's already starting to dismantle, it's already starting to lose its power as soon as you become aware of it and start to realize, oh, okay, I can be curious about this now. I can start to contemplate. So you can start moving into contemplation. So when we're moving into contemplation, we're starting to go into I see contemplation and as a fabric of thinking. So you're starting to go into this contemplation mode, this observer mode. When we're in the observer mode, we're not stuck in those automatic programs. We're in our consciousness, we're in our power, we're looking through our higher sensory perspective, we're looking through the eyes of our soul, of our consciousness. To be conscious, we have to be aware. Awareness is who we are. So we become aware and we start to see it, we start to contemplate, we're starting to think, we're starting to truly think, and we can start to be as we're contemplating it, we can ask ourselves questions, right? Questions that we ask. When we ask a question, the answer will come to us. Now, it might not come to us in that exact moment, but it will come to us when we ask a question. And often if it doesn't come in the exact moment because we're trying too hard to find the answer, it will come when we're doing something that we enjoy. So we can start to ask questions. So we're not judging ourselves for these thought loops that are running around. We're just like, okay, that's interesting. That thought loop has been keeping me stuck. It's been holding me hostage. I wonder where that's come from. I wonder what the root of that thought loop is. I wonder why that's been running around my system. And by asking these kind of questions, these aha moments, you are thinking, you are deeply thinking, you are starting to ask questions, pointed questions. So you're starting to deeply think about something. You're really moving into the observer mode, and the answers will start to come in. And just by this exercise alone, you're already dismantling the power of that looping thought. So you're starting to move out of those obsessive thoughts that keep you stuck, from moving forward. And you're starting to also become conscious of aware of them, right? Because often these are subconscious thoughts that most people aren't aware of until you are, right? Until you start to see it. So next time that you hear yourself say, oh, I'm just overthinking this, let that be a trigger for you to be like, hold on, am I actually thinking at all? Or am I stuck in one of those loops? Remember what I've said about what thinking truly is. Thinking brings light into our body. It brings excitement. It's like, we're connecting the dots. We're starting to awaken things inside of us. We're having aha moments when we're in deep thinking, when we're contemplating. And I want to move away from that perspective of seeing us all being these overthinkers, because actually, let's overthink, because that's what we need on the planet. We need to be thinking. We need to be allowing ourselves to contemplate things, to think deeply, to engage all of our senses in these concepts, in our lives, being these observers in our lives. And by doing that, we start to dismantle, we start to clearly see what is the false inverted matrix and these subconscious programs. We're bringing them into the light. And as we're doing that, we start to dissolve them. And as we're dissolving them, it's not draining our energy, and our focus is going on our light. And we're starting to grow that as a collective. So hopefully I managed to deliver that message to you, and we can all start to think more deeply.